Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you guys see with the title and as you guys see by that thumbnail, yes, your girl is going to be doing a googly eye inspired / recreation makeup look. If anyone's wondering where my inspo is, it's coming from this amazing makeup artist right here. I think I'm saying her name, Joan Hans. I could be saying it wrong, but she is like an OG in the YouTube community. Okay, I've seen her throughout my years of falling in love with makeup through YouTube and watching makeup tutorials as well. And I randomly came across this as I was scrolling through her channel, and I had honestly already had a look planned for googly eyes, but it was a totally different concept. But I like this one better. So I'm gonna go with the same type of concept that she did, with actually using the eyes as being like sprung out of the eye sockets. And I want to make the obviously spring within the eyeballs look just as realistic as the actual eyeballs, but I want to actually add some like red and pink veins towards the end of the eyeball. I know that probably might be a little creepy, but I want the eyeballs to look as realistic as possible, but still giving it that googly eye effect, you know what I'm saying? Like something that kind of has that what is it, that Woody Toy Story eye. Y'all know that famous iconic scene where he's getting all dolled up and cleaned up by that amazing, old man who just has a love for toys or whatever.
He's for display only.
Same type of idea, basically. You know what I mean? That shine effect, that realistic, true effect of like, googly eyes. Duh. By the way, that's like one of my favorite scenes from Toy Story 2. Just wanted to mention that. But yeah, that's pretty much the concept of today's makeup look. It's not really too hard. I'm actually going to just be focusing on the googly eye effect for today's makeup look. So you guys will be seeing me come back with the base of my face done off camera, because I feel like the base of the face right now is not important for this tutorial. I really want to enhance the definition within the eye sockets. I really want to do the highlighting and shading on them springs, and I want to make them googly eyes look as realistic as possible. That's what I want to focus on. So yeah, of course, as always, the products will be down in the description below if you guys are curious about that. But other than that, before we get into this makeup tutorial, why don't you guys also go ahead and hit that subscribe button, subscribe to your girl's channel. Please, we're on a road to 1K, y'all. We are on the road. It's so nice if I could hit 1K, y'all, before my birthday this year in December. I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but please, I can only hope, you know what I mean? But also, please go ahead and hit the notification bell so you guys can be notified every time I upload a new video here onto my channel, so you guys won't miss out on it. And don't forget to follow your girl on all of her social medias, which is her Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. If you're watching me desktop version, 2 links up in that banner, and then if you're watching me mobilely, then just go to my about section, and there should be 3 links to all of my social medias there as well. But other than that, you guys, that's pretty much it to this intro. I'm trying to make it very quick, simple, straight to the point.
Period.
Without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and get into this video. Hey you guys, so as you guys can see, your girl went ahead and did that base of the face off camera. As y'all can see, it's looking good, honey. It's looking good. That's why I'm in a good mood. And of course, all the products that I use on the base of my face will be down in that description box below. Like I said in the intro, if you guys are even curious to know what products I use for this beautiful face, okay? Base of the face, okay? Get it right. So now, finally getting into the actual tutorial within itself, we're going to start off with some black acrylic paint. You can use black face paint if you want to. Hell, you can use black eyeshadow if you want to. You can use a black eyeliner pencil, liquid eyeliner, whatever you want. But I decided to go with acrylic paint because it dries a lot faster, and it is acrylic, so it will dry completely matte. So you have no problems. But I went ahead and took like this square shaped box like detailed paintbrush to kind of help with the angle of how I wanted my circle. Now, of course, these circles are not 100% completely perfect. I wish they were, but I had to also realize within me looking at the reference picture into myself, I had to understand that we have two different eye shapes. Okay, so you have to take that into consideration, that you want to make sure you're getting enough room to be able to apply the springs within that area of the sunken shape circle within the eyes, but also make sure that it's not too wide, but don't make sure it's not too small. You know what I'm saying? So as y'all can see right now, your girl is taking that foundation shade and basically just carved out any edges that I felt like were a little bit too squared shaped and made it more circular. And as y'all can see now, your girl is taking basically a blending eyeshadow brush, and I'm just dipping into some dark brown eyeshadow and some black and just deepening up those sockets for the eyes. You can take it up to your brow bone if you want to. I know I did. And then you can also take it up to within the bridge of the nose, up by your up by the front area of your eyebrow. And then of course you can drag it a little bit down the bottom within the under eyes, inner corners of the other under eyes. And then you can also drag it a little bit more downward towards your cheek, because it's going to get covered up with the springs anyways, so you don't even have to necessarily worry about it looking so completely perfect, but just make sure it's having a nice blend so it's not too harsh, you know what I'm saying? But once we got all that done and I'm looking like I'm about to go to a haunted house, now we can start getting into the eyeballs. I went ahead and did the eyeballs first, so I'm taking that Covergirl concealer. It's like a light beige tan shade, and taking a small precise detailing paintbrush, and I'm basically just creating my circle. Now it seemed like this was a lot more easier for me to do within trying to get that perfect circle shape on my face rather than my eye sockets. Yeah, so basically it wasn't too hard, just kind of make into the shape you want. I made mine a nice medium size shape. I didn't make them too big, but I didn't make them really small either, especially because I wanted to add a little bit more extra detail to these eyeballs, so I needed to make sure I had as much room as possible. And then once you go ahead and apply all that concealer, set it with some we're spreading out the concealer with a small precise eyeshadow brush once we get the outline going. And then once we have that together, now we set it with I'm setting it with some Black Opal Invisible face powder, blocking face powder. Basically just took that and dabbed it on there. And then I went ahead and added an extra shade. It's this very light beige highlighting shade. It's a matte powdered shade. I basically just added it on top to kind of set it, not necessarily set it, but to create a base, basically. And I realized that I probably didn't have to do that because I went in with some really like pigmented white eyeshadow anyways. I started off with the brush just to start applying it within certain areas, and then later on I realized that, girl, just go ahead and use that go-to finger, okay? Sometimes taking your finger and applying eyeshadow onto you is just a little bit more better than the brush. So once I actually applied it with my finger, the pigmentation came out a lot more better, and it was very buildable. So as y'all can see, it's like pure white right now. So I basically just did that for a good few minutes, just packed on the shadows, make sure I took it all around the edges. I didn't want any type of missed spots around those edges of the eyes, even though they were going to get covered up with face paint anyways, but I just went ahead and did it. And then this was the most annoying part of it all. I'm honestly advising you to skip this part if you ever try to do this look. Skip this part. You don't necessarily have to create shadow within the eyeball. You could just keep it like a really pure white eyeball, but because we're trying to make it have a glossy effect within creating those googly eyes, it did require a little bit of eyeshadow. I tried my best to blend the grays with the whites. A bitch was struggling, but I got it together. As y'all can see, it's not perfect, but it is what it is. Now moving on to the detailing part. You can skip this part if you really want to. This was just me obviously wanting to do something different. So I basically just took some of that red face paint from the Wet n Wild Fantasy Makers palette in the shade Smoky, in the name Smoky, I think. And I basically just took that pure red shade and just started adding the veins and went really light-handed. And of course I'm not an expert at, you know, painting on a full eyeball with the veins and all that stuff, so I tried my best. And then I basically went in with the deep burgundy shade to add on top of that to give it some more defined depth within the veins, and added some black eyeshadow on top of that as well, to even make it more defined. Yes, we were being very extra. But basically I'm just touching up any areas I felt like needed to add more white, add more grays. It was a whole shebang, okay? And so now we're getting into the actual area within the eye. We're creating the color. So I took some concealer to kind of create that base, and then I added a little bit of a more lighter shade of concealer because I felt like the one I used before was just a little bit too medium tan. I wanted a more light tan basically. And so once I got that within the color of the eye, I went ahead and took some dark brown paint to create the perimeter of it. And then once I did that, I basically just created that on the outside of it, and then of course the black paint for the pupil. And then as y'all can see, now your girl is highlighting the eyeball to give it that glossy effect, that glossy finish. I tried my best. I'm not perfect at it, but this is the result. This is what it is. And then of course I added some highlights within the eyes as well, just to give it that extra effect. You know, the googly eyes, it's shining, it's looking downward, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I took some white acrylic paint. I did not use white face paint. I used white acrylic paint because it was a little bit just more pigmented than I felt was the actual white face paint within itself. And then once we got done with that, I went ahead and shaded around underneath the eyeball to give it that effect as if it's sitting on top of my face, to give it that illusion. So basically I just shaded underneath the eyeball and took it backwards towards the jaw just a tiny bit, not too much. And then as y'all can see, your girl went ahead and did half off camera. Y'all know this is like my go-to thing, especially because this is my first time creating springs on my face, you guys. So I needed to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do. So once I figured it all out, I was like, okay, let's come back on camera and let's show you guys what I did. And this was a struggle. So yeah, so basically I took the dark gray face paint out of that same Fantasy Makers palette by Wet n Wild, and basically just started creating the swirls within the spring, from the eye socket of my eye, getting down towards the eyelid, and then bringing it downward towards the under eye, and then basically creating the swirl. If I'm not for certain, I basically went to the right. You could go to the left if you want to. It's all up to you and what you want to do, but this is technically the best fit for me. And then once I got done actually creating that swirl, I tried my best not to make them too thick, but I think I ended up making them thick anyways, but it's whatever. And so I basically just took a fluffy eyeshadow brush and took that same Black Opal Beauty Invisible Blocking Powder to set that cream face paint, so that way we can be able to add some shades on top of it without it, you know, getting all meshy and just looking very icky. And then, you know, so that's basically what your girl did. And then on top of that, I basically just went ahead and started shading. So I took some black eyeshadow and just went in on certain areas that would have shading within the spring, having it being balanced onto my face, giving that illusion that it's coming downwards, basically shading in the areas that would obviously have some creative shadow as the springs are being, you know, layered on top of each other. And that basically is what helped me really figure out what exactly I'm doing within the makeup look. I feel like once the shading was done, I feel like that's when I could really kind of low-key start to see things come together. Ooh, bless me. I sneezed. But yeah, so I basically ended up shading in, and then I also went ahead and took some brown eyeshadow as well and started going in and shading underneath the springs, underneath areas that would need shading, because once again, this is kind of having that shadow as if it's coming downward towards my face, having that light within, you know, shadow. It's a lot of shading and highlighting, y'all, basically. So once I got done creating that shadow within the springs from the outside, even some layered on the inside, I went ahead and took my small precise paintbrush and took a lighter shade of gray face paint in that same palette and highlighted the certain areas that needed to be highlighted. And then as y'all can see, your girl's taking some black liquid eyeliner by Covergirl, and I'm basically just outlining the springs. This was a step that I once again did not personally like I said in the outro, I didn't feel like I had no choice but to do that, so I went ahead and did it. I feel like it didn't look too bad. You know, I wanted to give it a full-on 3D illusion, but your girl had to do what she had to do. And so to add that extra bit of highlight, I went very light-handed now. I didn't go too heavy with the white acrylic paint, and basically just went over all the areas that we highlighted with that light gray face paint. And then once that's done, yeah, your girl was basically done. I just pretty much touched up with some nose highlight, and I did my lips off camera. I basically lip lined my lips with some Nikita New York lip liner and some Pop Beauty clear lip gloss. The name will be in the description box if you guys are curious about that. And then, as y'all know, last but not least, your girl's gonna set that face with some Pop Beauty Makeup Magnet Mist setting spray. And this is pretty much it to the tutorial, you guys. I hope you guys followed along as best as you could with what I was doing. I hope you guys understood everything, but this is pretty much it to the finished look. And you guys, this is the finished look. I love how this came out. Like I mentioned throughout the tutorial, and I'm gonna say it here and say it now, I wish that the what the hell do you call these? The slinkies? It's been such a long day. These bitches, I wish that these were a little bit more realistic, more on the 3D side, but like I said, I had to sadly make them into 2D because of the simple fact that I couldn't figure out any other way to complete this piece without having to outline it in some way, shape, or form. And it is what it is.
No, period.
But overall, though, in all honesty, I do love how it came out. I like mine's just the way it is. I appreciate the fact that it came out just a little bit more different anyways, because I always try to find different ways for myself to stand out as an artist anyways when I do any type of inspired or recreation makeup looks. So it is what it is. But I do love the eyeballs. I changed the eye color as well to brown, which is more of my eye color. It's a little bit more on the milk chocolate brown, more than like the dark brown, but whatever, it is what it is. It's googly eyes. It's not supposed to be completely identical to my natural eyes anyways, but guys, I hope you guys understood everything I was doing throughout the tutorial, like I said also in the tutorial, because I know sometimes it's better to see than to try to inform and explain, but I try my best to do that as an artist because I know some people prefer that, then some people prefer to just watch. So I try to do 50-50, you know? I try to, you know, please both parties at the same time. But if you guys liked how this makeup look came out, if you guys enjoyed the makeup tutorial as a whole, please give this video a big old thumbs up, and then comment down below any other makeup look suggestions that you guys would like for me to do here onto my channel. I also hope that you guys will hit that subscribe button, okay? Subscribe to your girl's channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys be notified every time I upload a new video here onto my channel. Don't forget to follow your girl on all her social medias, which is her Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Of course, you already know content will be posted on all those social medias, so please look out for those as well and show some love and support. I would really appreciate it. I hope you guys like this makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial as a whole, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Don't be scared, I ain't afraid. Just like that, come my way. Just my shit.